Hey, on Today AI is Applied, Google is back in the news. We love following what Google does because when you think about how Google works, it's not just about, oh, well, are you going to use the Gemini chatbot? This Gemini power is really feeding its capabilities into all these other products. And when we talk about how good Gemini actually is, think less about can I use this chatbot and more about what it can do. And today is a perfect example of that. It's Jade, I don't know how you pronounce this. I think it's Lyria, but sometimes guys, when we see things written, I don't know, but anyway, Google has this new text to music model, which is, I think it's just in preview at the moment,
Yep.
but also VO2, which is like their super great video creation model that's been enhanced. But also, Jaden, the thing I also wanted to kind of get your take on is that it looks like, tell me if I have this right, it looks like they have a voice cloning feature as well. And this is interesting because these things have, kind of previously been just the domain of something like 11 Labs or something like that. And my thought on this is always when great products like a Perplexity or like an 11 Labs or a HeyGen or something like that come out, what happens when the Google rolls out something,
Yes.
Microsoft, something like that? So, Jaden, this is a little more of your world around this, especially around the music stuff. Like your wife's a musician, like you guys love music. Tell me what your thoughts were when you saw this.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, like you mentioned, I am absolutely thrilled. And I also have to give a plug. My wife just dropped her very first album. I might even link it in the description. I know the
You have to,
fraction of
you have to look
people
it up.
that enjoy non-AI generated Christian music. It's
Yeah,
probably some subset of the listeners here that's not very small, but I'm just so proud of her. Obviously, she
100%.
wrote her own 14 songs and produced and published and did them all. She's working on it for like months. So I'm excited. I'll drop a link to that.
Kudos. Well done, Jill. You are the
Yeah, well
star of
done,
this
Jill.
family.
Great,
Nice.
great job. First album. So, anyways, yes, I am all, as I mentioned, I'm definitely like very into the music space. I've also done a ton of research and looked at AI generated music, and I myself am a bit of a famous musician. I think I've
Mhm.
told Connor this before. In
Yes.
college, I made some albums, posted them on Spotify, and get 20 million streams to this day. But it's a random name that is not my own, so you'll have a hard time ever finding it. But I have created relaxing piano music for cats to listen to, and I
He's not
get
lying. He's not lying.
millions of streams on this stuff. So if your cat is ever needing to relax, go find some stuff, and it'll change your life. Okay, so what I think is interesting here, though, is Google has actually announced this earlier. This isn't a brand new feature that they have. These are updates that are making their platform better. So back in November of 2023, so we're going years back now, more than a year ago, Google and DeepMind and YouTube released Lyria. So this was the first time they came out with it. This was um their music generator kind of thing. What's interesting is they actually January of 2023. So now we're going like 2 years back pretty much, is when they first released their research paper. And I remember looking through the research paper, playing some of their music, being like, oh my gosh, Google has this really cool technology. Then it was like November of that year. So it's like, okay, almost a year later, they actually finally released it so people could use it. And now they have an update that I think makes it actually usable and useful. Why do I give you the whole backstory? When we talk about new features coming out of AI, we're so excited when Google does something big or Microsoft does something big or any of the big companies. But at the end of the day, it's the small, scrappy startups that seem to
Yeah.
get the good products out fast. Google's been working on this for many years. They have a solid product on it, but like they probably could have had this out a year ago. The reason we're even hearing about it today is because they have the Google Cloud conference that's coming up. And so it's kind of getting front run by that, but they kind of hold back these announcements for the big conference that happens once a year. There's all these kind of things. Got to make sure that all the royalties are in check. So anyways, I think it's interesting. I'm excited for it. I think the new version that they've rolled out is actually usable finally and pretty good and
Yeah.
useful. But at the same time, we've had like Suno AI, if you've listened to previous episodes, for like almost a year now, and it's been pretty freaking good. And publicly available, and you don't have to have a developer account like you currently kind of need the developer account to be able to use Lyria. So this is why I think, I don't know. I'm excited, but at the same time, if you really were serious, you're probably already using a different music generator.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's but you're right, right? I mean, they kind of like hold these things back. So, the winners, quote unquote winners, will be the companies that like blast their things out. But then Google Cloud Next or whatever comes out, and they're like, oh, look what we've been building this whole time. And it's funny when you think about like how robust this new offering is, and I'm guessing that this is all going to be announced in a big way. But like but even VO2, which is again their video generator, and I know Jaden, you're really into this stuff as well. I don't know if you saw this. It looks like it can like really remove background images and logos and objects and all that sort of stuff. Like it's going to be able to do better and better stuff. Like we are getting further and further from the nightmare fuel that is video generation and the nightmare fuel that was, when places would try to create text and things like that, right? Like that's now we're sort of seeing on ChatGPT's new image generator that it's just outstanding at text and all this stuff. It's not even that it's becoming perfect. I don't care about that. It's sort of getting rid of all the horrible stuff. And that's huge, right? That's sort of like the middle ground where we are going to then be able to accelerate into something probably, I think, pretty useful. I don't know how soon it's going to be very, very useful. Like right now, just I don't see the point of video generator outside of demos and things like that. I don't know, like image generation for sure. But the other thing, Jaden, that I wanted to mention as well on this is that it looks like because it's Google, and if you spend time with Google, you realize, and we had a great interview with Logan Kilpatrick it was, I don't know, a month ago or something like that, and he was just talking about like Google's like the adult in the room, like they have to be careful with this stuff. And so that's why one of the things that I thought was interesting with this news coming out was that all the media by Imagen, which is their image generator, VO, and Lyria, but not Chirp, which I think is their voice cloner, they're all watermarked using that Google Synth ID or something like that technology. Anyway, so they were saying that they all have these built-in safeguards, and I think that's huge. I think that they've already had, all these companies have had their free moment, too big to fail, no lawsuit is really going to hit them, they'll pay New York Times $1 billion, something like that. But going forward, it's much harder to justify the training data. I think DeepSeek and other places can train on whatever they want to train on, but I think that the OpenAIs, the Googles, and the Microsoft have to be really careful with that. So anyway, that was another interesting element for me.
Yeah, totally. No, I definitely think so. As far as the use cases and like what people are using this for, what I'm actually excited about, I think Google is the perfect person to come out with this tool in a sense that they're connected to YouTube. And if you've ever made a YouTube video, or evidently probably watched hundreds, one of the hard parts about finding them is the whole royalty-free music ecosystem. So when you throw a song in the background of a track, or even like, let's say someone's vlogging, they walk through a grocery store and there's like, they don't really notice there's some music playing in the background of the grocery store and it's picked up on the camera and you can kind of hear it. Whoever is the artist of that song will claim 100% revenue on the YouTube video just because their song is played inside of that YouTube video. So it's kind of this annoying thing where the royalties for music just can completely take over a YouTube video. I've seen very high profile videos before. They got millions of streams and that happened. There's a little song in the background somewhere and they just swiped like, $80,000 in AdSense revenue from a video with that pretty much. And so this is a serious problem. And so YouTube, to kind of combat this, they came up with a music library where there's, thousands of songs people could submit that would be royalty free. Anyone could use them inside of their music. Some of them you have to attribute to the actual artist. Others you could just use. And some people just want to get like, their music heard, so they don't care. Anyways, so this is kind of the system that's grown. Now, it's not perfect because you got to try to look through this library. It's hard to find it. And so I think with a tool like this that can do the music, this is a very good use case for all of a sudden we can get any type of music generated and put in the back. So now it's royalty free. So I think that's a great use case for this, this kind of like alternative to a royalty free music library. And then the other thing that they've added that we talked about that I think is also a great plug for YouTube. A lot of these things, right, when we talk about multimedia, YouTube's going to just be able to eat them up, is the voice cloner. So we have HeyGen, we have Synthesia, we have a couple others that can do these kind of AI voices and voice cloning specifically. It's very useful. And the reason why it's so useful, and I think 11 Labs does a great voice clone as well, is because if you can clone your voice, you can transcribe it to a different language. So Mr. Beast, he spends, millions of dollars for every video he produces. He's going to get it transcribed. He's going to get it a new voiceover, and he pays voice actors, famous voice actors from all around the world to make different like languages of his videos, and he publishes them everywhere. And he said his Spanish channels is like his fastest growing channel, et cetera, et cetera. So it makes a lot of sense. But what I think is even better than paying some famous Spanish celebrity to do your voiceovers is literally just to clone your voice and then just have yourself speaking in those other languages. And this is what Google's enabling. They have 35 different languages. And I think pretty soon Mr. Beast is going to stop hiring those people, probably just use an AI tool like this. I recently heard him on a interview with Mark Zuckerberg talking about that, but for Facebook, he's like, hey, like, can you get some like tools on Facebook where I can like upload different like languages? And Zuck's like, yeah, I mean, technically we can, but like audio AI is probably just going to clone your voice and be able to talk in all the languages pretty soon. So like we're kind of working on it, but like this is probably coming sooner. And Mr. Beast's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So evidently this is on everybody's mind. And I think that Google, this tool isn't just, oh wow, Google made a new tool. They're very intentional with what they create, and they can see a very real use case that's going to drive revenue.
No, I mean, absolutely. This is, if you're not ready for an AI cloned voice, there is no way you can detect it. I'm telling you, I've done this a million times. I've done experiments. I think I was telling you that I did a thing for BBC where I read part of Alice in Wonderland and then cloned my voice and did that same reading of Alice in Wonderland, and BBC put it on the air, and just my kids couldn't tell which one was me and which not. You are not able to tell. This is not how you imagine AI voice. If you heard AI voice a year ago, it's different, guys. It's different. And anyway, so I think that's huge. I think that just if you want to start thinking about things that you want to translate into other languages, it just totally opens the possibilities. I absolutely love that. Listen, I know we're at time. Just something that Jaden brought up, I have to sort of like bring up. First of all, again, huge congratulations to Jill. I've heard her music. It's absolutely phenomenal. She's on Spotify, Jill Schaefer. Incredible stuff. No joke to put out real AI free music these days. But guys, let me just tell you something that Jaden does that I don't think people know about, which is, because he does it on his other podcast, but not here so often. He has this thing on Skool, Skool, which is a community. He has hundreds of people on here. It's super cheap. It's less than $20 a month. I know that. But the thing that he has on this, and it's called AI Hustle. And all these stories, guys, I get to hang out with Jaden, so I hear these stories. But listen, no joke. Did you hear what he just said? He has 20 million downloads on Spotify from a random thing that he never even talks about. This is the kind of stuff he puts on this thing. If you want to create your own business or just learn or interact with the community or interact with Jaden, this is your spot. Jaden, you leave a link in the description. I'm telling you, it's the best $20 a month you can spend. I'm not joking. It's really unbelievable. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. Have an amazing rest of your day.